Number 6, this is customer success journey, healing and follow-up phase. So when I was writing this, I was thinking, what do we do? What we don't do? What are the best options? What has worked best for us? So touch points is, we use type form as the consent form. So therefore, it will automatically send after 10 days to check in how they feel. And then we email clients ourselves to ask, how is it? How's your day? How's your tattoo? Because we also want to know how they feel like it. Because again, we live in a century where nobody really talks to anyone, nobody really cares about anyone, nobody really wants to ask anyone anything, which means if you give them a tattoo and then you never speak to them again, it's horrible. It's the worst thing you can do. So whenever you do a tattoo, like we want to show clients that we actually care. And it's not that we care just because we said so, but you actually do, yeah? So a lot of times when people tattoo, they don't want to ask how is it because they are worried about how is it. And they are panicking from both sides. So in this hand, you got artists thinking, fuck, I probably destroyed that line. I probably destroyed that corner. That's too black, maybe overworked here, a little bit shading too much there. So you got panic from this end. But you also get a client sitting here thinking, man, I probably should have put more cream. I probably should have done this. I should have done that, should have done that. My artist is going to say something about this to me. And you're both sitting there thinking, damn, should I say something or should I not? Should I message or should I not? So your job becomes that you are the one who messages. And in English terms, you basically break the ice. Which also means that no one ever does that. So you have no competition. There's no other studio that will message clients says, so how do you feel? How was it? How does your line work? Or when you go to a barber, for example, and he cuts your hair. Have you ever received a message from a barber saying, how do you like it? How do you feel? How's the next day? How's your haircut? Do you think we should have done a little bit less hair? Maybe we should do more fade here? Or when you buy a t-shirt, I don't know where this one comes from, but let's say this comes from Marks and Spencer's, or this comes from H&M. I don't even know where I got this t-shirt from. Probably my missus bought. And imagine H&M message you and say, how do you feel about the t-shirt? Does it feel comfortable to you? Like, do you want to swap to a different one? Or do you reckon next time we could do a little bit more cozier? What did you bought? 80% cotton, like whatever, I don't even know the parameters. But imagine if they ask, how was it? How was your t-shirt? You would be like, no fucking way, they just asked me how was my t-shirt. Or if you go to a restaurant and these people are paid to go to ask you, how was it, how was it, how was it, how was it? Imagine if somebody actually asked, how was your food? So imagine if they could actually teach the staff to ask the right way. So imagine you eat your food, someone says, how's your food, you like it? And you're like, yeah. You're just gonna say anything for them to fuck off. But imagine if they come there like, so how do you like it? And you would say, yeah, it's cool. And they're like, if you don't like anything, yeah, we can just take your plate and then swap to a new one. I can bring you a brand new one, you know. Like, I can warm this up, I can cook a little bit more. We can give you a dessert for free, like whatever. You just tell me, like, just tell me, yeah? Just tell me. And then I'll get rid of this, because sometimes, you know, things happen. And if you want a brand new plate with something a bit different, I can make it happen. Or how's the meat? Because that meat is like new for us for last week or so. So we are still trying to get the recipe perfect, like really neat. Can you give me any feedback on like how the food is there? And you would be like, yo, this person's actually really interested in how I'm experiencing this experience. Or you buy a new car and then once a week you receive phone calls asking like, so how's the car? Does it run as you wanted? Or do you feel like this car is a little bit too low? Do you think like you want to get a different car? Do you want to swap? Or like, it doesn't happen. Mostly when you get something done, no one like cares. No one gives a shit. They all just disappear. They all make this big drama to buy, and then you buy and then they disappear. Like they're just gone. And I feel really irritated when that happens to me. So I signed up for this one course. the guy was like fucking emailing and emailing and emailing. He's like, please do it. I'm like, yeah, it sounds alright. Like I could use this business course. I signed up for it, and it was all just lame. Videos were lagging. Some conversations were cut into a video where the video shouldn't even exist. It was just piece of shit. Like the whole thing was just a piece of shit. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I cancelled, and I was like, you know what? Like this is not really for me. You can just keep your shit to yourself. And that was it. I never received any video after that. Any email after that. Like never. You know what I mean? Like hundreds up to the point of buy. I cancel and there's zero. Like nothing. Not even email says, you know what? Even if you are not a subscriber, this is the video that we have made this week. If you're interested, you can sign up for it. I'm like, cool. The conversation kind of rolls. Like I would like that where even though if I'm not a part and I'm not in there, maybe there's a video that I do want to watch. Maybe there's like a video I want to grab. So for example, when I post stuff on school, I still have everybody's emails that have been signed up, unless they have cancelled, unsubscribed themselves. But I have all the emails myself. And even the people that I'm not in the school, I'm like, by the way, guys, this is the video I put up this week. This is the video I put up this week. This is what I put there. This is what I put there. This is what I put there. And they get all the videos sent all the time. No, they get emails sent all the time, because even though they came and they went, maybe they were in a season when they just didn't have money, didn't have time, didn't have that, but it doesn't matter. Like to me, those are just people that I kind of became semi-friends. I know them, they know me. I just keep conversation. I'm like, yo, this is what I did. And you might be interested, and you might be interested in this one. If not this, then this. It doesn't matter. Like if you don't want to like steak, you can have a dessert. You can have a cake. You can have ice cream. You can have that. Like you don't have to have all of them. You can just have a piece of this and a piece of that. And then I have also students that come in January, then they leave, and then by June they're back in. They're here for like a month or two, then they go again. And no hard feelings, they're just in and out. We all have different seasons. But what I don't like is when there's like a cut off, like don't speak to me again kind of feeling. All this being said is, what I want you to do is, when you make these build-ups and you try to sell these designs, you try to make the world to have them, when they actually have them, ask, how was it? How was your line work? Have they all like, I always say to them, it didn't wash off now? And they always laugh. But I mean it. I'm like, how's the line work? I want to know if all the lines are still there. I want to know if all the shading is still there. I want to know if the black is still there. I want to know if anything like has faded, because they might be intimidated to message you saying, you know what, there's like 5 lines missing. But they are walking around the town, and then they will say to everybody, to brothers and cousins and sisters and work colleagues and best friends and schoolmates and everybody, that there's these 5 lines missing. And who did that? Oh, it was the guy from that studio. Guess where no one's gonna go now? Because they're not gonna go to a place where 5 lines are missing. But they will go to a place where the 5 lines were missing, but the guy messaged asking how was it, and then he put those 5 lines back in there, which showed that the guy cares, he looks after, does them for free, and just make sure that these clients have the best tattoos. And you want to be that person, yeah? Yeah, that was all a backstory. So that was like the action number 1. You message them after some time period, yeah? So all this was like a build-up backstory. The next is, if they reply, ask for some photos. Because a lot of times they have some good photos, they've been on holidays, they've been just at home, they just normally take some good photos that you can also repost on your social media. And sometimes they bangers, because when you take photos in the studio, they just feel like as much as they feel comfortable, they are in pain, they're cold, the body's hit a shock, they're half alive, and then you say, stand nice, and you're like, fuck, this is not cool. Like you. But when they're at home, when they had a nice day, and they just turn aside and take a good photo, it's more natural, more free, more them, and then you get better results. So most of the times they actually have a good photos, and then ask them if you can post, like repost. And if it's not healed correctly, you offer a free touch-up, because why not? And then you want to show your clients that you actually care about them, which I just mentioned. If the photos are not allowed to post, you don't post. If the photos are allowed to post them, which then earns you credibility and the clients see that you can trust them. So what also healed photos do is, like, every time someone comes in and I end up tattooing somebody that I was tattooing a while ago, I always try to grab healed photo, because if you see my Instagram, you see fresh, and there's not even one healed photo. How do you know that they actually healed all right? How do you know they actually stay in? How do you know that my tattoos actually stay good in like 5 years? Or like 6 years, or 5 or 7 years? Like, I literally have clients that I was tattooing about 9 years ago. Like, I'm hitting that stage now when I can see 10 years of healed tattoos on people that I started like a long time ago, and I had like small knowledge about tattooing, and I can see how they have healed. And when you tattoo them like last month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, you have to take healed photos all the time and show the world that it actually stays in, it looks good. And if it doesn't look good, you fix it, and then you post that it looks good, because you want the world to know that actually when you do the work, it actually stays in. And then the more evidence you can get, the better. And then the next point is log any issues, which means if you have a fuck up, if you have a problem, you need to write that down. As in, like, I had problems with this tattoo on that area, that leg, that time, that person. So, and then you watch for patterns, and you have to really write them down all the time, because they become your source of learning material. Because if you think you're like, it's just one person, it's one person, maybe it's exactly the same thing repeating over and over again. And only when you write down what happened, you're like, oh shit, actually, it's only on people that are 40 and above years old, because the skin's more dry, and I just don't know what to do with those kind of skins. You're like, that makes sense. Or maybe it was only when I was using that brand of ink, and because it was acting a bit differently, I kind of overdid and I shredded the guy's skin, for example. And you're like, maybe I need to buy a different ink, because now I can see that I always struggle when I have this ink, and I always struggle when I have that ink. And as a business owner, I make them write these things down all the time, because if anything happens, if a council gets involved, or just in general, like something goes kaboom, I have evidence that we actually did track that down, and then I had them countable. Like, they have written the name, the day, the time, that they did this and this and this and this, and it wasn't by accident. Like, they are aware of the situation happened, that they can't say, I didn't know. Like, we know, and we did, we documented. So if anything goes, we have done our part of accountability if something happens, just in case. And it's also good source material, because I will go through them at some point on school, and I'm gonna read them all down. So what has happened and how we resolved and what could be the cause. So everybody can take that as a learning material to understand what actually happens, why it happens, what can be done differently. So all the problem list is basically a really good learning list. And that's for school, that's for future. And then the psychology behind this video basically is aftercare. And when you ask people about aftercare and just you caring, it's showing the world that you actually care beyond the payment. Like, you have paid, but then there is a relationship, then there is care, then there is support, then there is you still thinking about them, you still remembering them. And if you can write an email saying, yo, how's your leg? How's your tattoo? By the way, how's your kids? Did he manage to get this and this? So you can pull a fraction from a conversation you had in a day into the email, carry on as a conversation, and that really grabs that person's feelings, locks you in, and they will be always locked to this place. So they will always gonna come here for 10 years easy. You don't have to think about where to get your clients for 10 years. They will always come back. Plus, they will send all the family members, or the kids, or the grandchildren. Everybody will come here because you care about them. But then when you tattoo those grandchildren, classmates, and work colleagues and all that, you do exactly that to them. And you just unlock new circles, and you unlock so many people that all of them come here only. And that's why when you look at a map People come from miles away. Actually, I didn't mention, we have can you see that? See the letter K is blocking globus, that a globe, yeah? It's because people fly as well here. So just so you know. People fly, so they will fly because they can sense that you care. So that's about it. This video is about healing and follow-up phase, client success journey. It's a journey that we create, we design how they flow through, and these weird activities we do when this phase comes. So next video we're gonna watch and you're gonna hear about the next phase.